So a lot of people are surprised to find out that I don't live in Puerto Rico, nor have I ever lived in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised my entire life right here in South Florida in this beautiful house.
Yeah, that's your house. That's your beautiful house.
Although I was not born or raised in Puerto Rico, I was raised with the importance of my heritage and surrounded by my culture my entire life. No, yeah, because you Puerto Ricans love that flag. Y'all will put that on anything, if not everything. Well, did you guys know that the US government actually made it illegal for Puerto Ricans to wave our own flag for a decade because it represented nationalism? That's why it's been embedded into our culture to love that flag. But you didn't know that, huh? Look up the gag law. Pero mucha gente sí se sorprende cuando les digo que nunca he vivido en Puerto Rico porque supuestamente que hablo con un español perfecto. Gracias, gracias. But I didn't always speak fluent Spanish. As a kid, I hated speaking Spanish. I thought if both my parents spoke English, why did I have to speak Spanish? And so whenever I was spoken to in Spanish, I would just respond in English.
¿Me va a pagar mis biles?
Yeah.
Ay, sí, porque yo no tengo dinero.
Therefore, my Spanish was very bad.
Ya no hay más cumpleaños, mira, se acabó.
Pero no más nada cumpleaños para
So Edison, how were you able to improve your Spanish living in the diaspora? Well, while raising me, my mom really tried enforcing Spanish onto me. Even though we always spoke to each other in English, she started to notice my Spanish becoming really bad. So she started to pretend that she didn't know English at all. She would be all like, no te entiendo whenever I would respond in English. And that would just trigger me. Like, I know you speak English. So I hated speaking Spanish even more. So that didn't work. So with no choice, like a good Latina mother, my mom sent me back to the motherland with my grandmother when I was 9 years old for an entire summer. Regresé hablando súper boricua, ya tú sabes. Mami dijo, diablo, este no es mi hijo, este nuevo edizo me gusta más.
Está rico este pan, me gusta mucho, me gusta, me encanta, me fascina.
Now, if you didn't grow up with your culture or your parents didn't teach you the language and you're trying to learn Spanish, here are some tips that helped me learn a little Portuguese, a language that I didn't grow up with at all. Surround yourself with the language. Listen to a bunch of music in that language and just memorize the words and the pronunciations until you can sing the entire song like the person singing it. Watch movies in the language that you want to learn with English subtitles at first, and over time, once you get familiar, switch to both the audio and subtitles to the language that you want to learn so that you can get familiar with the spelling of the words. Step 3, make a lot of friends that speak the language that you want to learn. I don't know if I recommend this, but I made a lot of friends on Omigo back in 2019, and that's how I learned a little Portuguese. But yeah, don't let not knowing a certain language discourage you from celebrating your culture and learning about your heritage. Not knowing a language doesn't take anything away from your ethnicity or your genetic makeup. But knowing more than one language that's not just English is a blessing in itself. The more language that you know, the better you will succeed in life. I'm not saying it has to be Spanish, but I hope this video definitely encourages many of you to learn a new language, if not perfect the language that you already know.